Hey guys, quick little comparison video I wanted to shoot just to compare the Wuben X-2 and the Wuben X-1. It's mainly just sort of beam shots, but I thought I'd give you a quick little rundown in case you're not familiar with either of these flashlights. So these are new series flashlights Wuben have released, and as you can see, they're quite unique from your usual tube design flashlights. I mean, these things look like they're out of a science fiction prop, and it's not just for the look, but there's actually a really good practical use for them as well, because they, at the end of the day, you can fit these in your pocket, and you save on length. So normally these run off two 14500 cells. Normally you'd have to have them next to each other, so increasing the length of the battery tube, which is going to be a little bit annoying. So I think this kind of just gets around that and still maintains a little smaller, slim profile that you can slip in your pocket very easily. You barely feel that one in your pocket. This uses also the same sort of design, but just on a larger scale with 21700 cell batteries in there. I've used them both for over a week, and I've been really happy with how the performance has turned out. This one produces 2,500 lumens. This one produces 12,000 lumens and then steps down to 2,500 lumens. So this one will step down to about 60% of its output after about a minute, the X2. So of course it's a lot smaller, so you're not going to get as much heat dissipation as the X1. The X1 also has an inbuilt fan. Can you believe it or not? Look at that. It looks like a kind of a CPU fan or something like that. But the great thing is that it's not very loud. It's very quiet. But the great thing is that it's quite a quiet sounding fan. It just sounds like a really quiet hard drive. I could barely tell that it was on. Okay, and happy with that, considering I've been used to using the Immelin MR90, which just has a very loud fan, and probably necessary considering it produces so many lumens. In terms of the construction, very similar design. It's got this sci-fi, looks like it's something out of a movie, or I thought they looked a bit like tasers actually, but yeah, like really high quality and interesting design that you don't normally see on flashlights. This kind of techno vibe that I get from them. The X1 uses 3 XHP 70.2 LEDs. They're larger, produce a lot more lumens, whereas the X2 uses 3 Osram P9 LEDs in the same sort of configuration, just on a smaller scale. You've got the glass lens here, as well as the orange peel reflectors. They're sort of all next to each other, joined up, and they actually produce a very nice diffused beam. The center does have a hotspot, kind of like a longer hotspot in the middle, just due to the configuration of the flashlight itself. The bezels, again, are just sort of built into the flashlight. You can unscrew them. There are a few screws there, though Wuben tell you not to do this in the manual, or you will void the warranty, so do so at your own risk. In terms of the UI and the modes, quite similar sort of UI. So they come locked first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you lock the flashlight. So just press that button 4 times consecutively. And when you try to activate it, you see this little blue light just flicker on and off to tell you that the light is locked. Very useful feature. I mean, especially for the X1, you don't want this thing to come on in your pocket accidentally, so always kind of remembering to lock it before you put it back into your pocket. But yeah, unlock 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get access to that lowest mode. How it works, they're both exactly the same, but turn it on and then you can press and hold and ramp up. Low, medium, high, off, low, medium, high, off, and from off you can actually press and hold to access the lowest mode. You can double click to get access to turbo, triple click to get access to strobe, like that. Okay, and click again to go to the last mode, and then click again to turn off. Another thing you can do, which I think is pretty cool, is that you can modify the modes. So say I'm in this mode, you can go click, click, hold, and ramp it up a little bit, and it will memorize that mode as the low mode, or whatever mode you're in. So you might be in this middle mode or something, or that one there. Okay, and you can just change it, ramp it up. Okay, that one, switch that off. So I think that's pretty cool. Just having those programmable modes in there is something that you don't see on your usual flashlights. In terms of overall performance, I mean, obviously the X1 has much better performance overall, but you're having to carry this large chunk of metal around in your pocket. I can really see people using this as, you know, a work light or just a normal EDC light that you keep in your pocket if you actually need that amount of power in the runtime. You know, this is a great option, but I wouldn't be carrying this thing around just as a general walking light or something like that. For example, I'd probably get something smaller. It's just gonna weigh me down less. But yeah, again, the beam profiles are very similar. This one's gonna last longer, and practicality wise, it really just depends what you're looking for. If you want something that's easier to carry around, that one. But if you need something that lasts longer and gonna be brighter, probably get that one. So I am gonna go through some beam shots with you guys now. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you're interested in getting either of these lights as well, you can buy them through my link below. And I've actually teamed up with Wuben, and they will give you 10% if you use my code below off these lights. So check it out if you're interested in purchasing either of them directly from Wuben. And yeah, again, any questions, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video as well, do me a favor, click the like button, as it helps me to get my videos out to more people. What I'm going to do, I'm going to compare the high mode on the X1 to the left, and I'm going to compare it to the turbo on the X2. They should be pretty similar. So that's high on the X1 here to the left, okay? And it's able to sustain that for a long period of time. And let's try the X2. And look at that, like pretty similar, I'd have to say. Pretty similar. Let's have that. There you go, that's the X1 and the X2. X1, it's got a pretty diffuse sort of beam again in the middle, but the center has a lot more light. Okay. Get that X2 back on again. And look at that, you can barely tell the difference. Okay, I think the X1 just has a bit more, I mean the spill pattern is just a little bit wider, okay, a little bit wider and brighter, it seems, but it's kind of similar, to be honest. I mean, it's hard to tell. Maybe I'm just trying to find differences, but I mean together on turbo they both look, I mean, high and turbo on the X2, high on the X1, turbo on the X2. Okay, I want to just test this for a little bit longer to see how long the X2 can hold the turbo mode. You can already see it's starting to dim. Okay, that's the X2, and you got the X1. Again, it's just holding that 2,500 lumens, and it hasn't actually turned on that fan yet in the X1. Interestingly. I mean, it's quite a large chunk of metal. Okay, X2, maybe I can reactivate that turbo again if I turn it off. There we go, back to turbo. So the great thing about the X2 is that you can just keep activating the turbo over and over again until it gets pretty hot. And yeah, so if you only need the high mode, and assuming you don't need to have it on for too long, I would suggest getting the X2. Otherwise the X1, I mean, this thing just goes on forever. Okay, it's also a little bit warmer. The X1 beam is a bit warmer than the X2's beam. Okay, now I'm going to have them both on turbo, and you can really see the difference here. So X1 turbo, and they're incredible. Look at that, 12,000 lumens. Okay, and the X2's turbo, I mean, it's just like night and day really. Okay, 12,000 lumens, 2,500 lumens. Okay, X1 and the X2. X1, I can hear the fan starting to go. It almost reminds me of like a little hard drive. Just spinning. Fascinating thing. Okay, X2. Of course, the X2 is ramping down a bit as well, which is good. You need that to happen so that it doesn't burn itself out. Okay. I'm super impressed with the X1. I mean, design is a little bit out there compared to, you know, your usual
tube flashlight, but it just works. And from an engineering sort of perspective, I mean, you can just fit all kinds of stuff in here, and this fan, and don't know, just it must be a lot easier to just construct something like that rather than have a tubular design. Okay, there's the X2, X1. Okay.